Hello, welcome to Spy Money. I learned something today. I was communicating with someone in our Discord channel, and we were talking on the phone while we were looking at the screen. I was sharing my screen with them, and while I was doing that, I noticed that they hung up the phone, but they could still hear me talking. Well, I didn't have my headset plugged in. As it turns out, I've got a microphone on my webcam, and I didn't know it. So it's hard telling what anybody's heard from me before. So anyway, it was kind of funny. A little funny story. Today, ES rocked my world. During consolidation, I knew not to trade, and I did. I was convinced that the Feds were going to pump the money in today, namely because they said they were, and I did not find anything. When we got in, let me go to a 15-minute chart. Last night I was playing something different that I've never done before, and I was going to I got 4 ES contracts, and I was going to set them and then put a stop just above my entry. That way it could run all night, and if it went up 100 points, I would get 4 contracts at 100 points, which would be $20,000. And I'd never done that before, but I was convinced the Feds were going to pump, so I had a little strategy I was doing, and I kept getting kind of stopped out, and I ended up staying up till after 1, well, yeah, it was a little after 1 this morning, and to get this going. So finally I got it all set up and everything, and I thought it was going to take off, and lo and behold, we had all of this right here, and it just stopped me out, because I got in right here and it went up, stopped me out. I still made money, but not, I mean, just like 75 or $100 or something. But I thought that it would actually run all the way up and come up and hit this trend. That's what my hope was. Well, it didn't. It just kind of played around. So I'd been better off to have just scalped all evening and then closed out my positions, or maybe put up one and tried to let that one run, but I didn't do it. So I didn't lose money on it, but it was just aggravating with what I was trying to do. I spent hours trying to get this set up, and it didn't work. So I wake up this morning and found out that I got stopped out. I didn't have $20,000 in my account, and I was kind of bummed about it. So I got up this morning and was kind of looking. Let's see here. I did this different this time. Oops. My screen keeps on popping up on the bottom. Let me see if I can change this right here real quick. Let's see here. Bear with me. Bear with me 1 second here. Let's see, Discord live, the Windows capture Windows screen, Windows capture. There we go. Now I don't see that other screen there, so sorry about that. What I was looking at was I was looking for the Fed pump, and this morning I was up at about 5:30, and I was kind of watching this, and I thought, well, right here it is. So I hop back in, I keep on going, and you know, when you get in a ES contract, it's really hard to get it set, because once you get started, then you can let it run. And instead of scalping, that's what I was trying to do, and I ended up losing like I think it was about $300 or so just trying to get in here on some different ones, but I made money too. So before market open, I was actually doing pretty good. So then when the market opened we had this little pullback, and then I thought, well, here we go. So we had this little dog leg, or whatever you want to call it, started coming up, and I thought, well, here's where the pump's going to be. So I didn't get in any shorts here because I was afraid that they would take off and pump it real quick, and I didn't want to lose money there. So it come down here, and I hopped in here, and I started making a little bit of money, and then it kept on pulling down. So this whole area right here, let me put this on a 5-minute chart. This is sickening. I did not get in this short one time. because I was convinced that the Feds were going to pump. It was obvious that I should have been in a short, and I would have made a killing right here. I mean, if I just got in, say 2,900 and rode it all the way down to 2,838, I mean, 4 contracts, and that's going to be what, 60 points roughly. So 60 points, 4 contracts. That's $12,000 I could have made there, but I didn't do it. I was convinced that it was going to rage, and so I didn't get in. So then I come down here and get right down at the bottom, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to get in this short, and I'm just going to do it. I got in right here, and I'll be daggone if the thing didn't pull up. So I lost, I think, a few $100s there, and it just kind of kept on going. I kept trying to get in, but right through here is consolidation. You just cannot trade consolidation. It's just not something that's good. So, actually, I was on the wrong date, wasn't I? Yeah, I'm sorry, I was on the wrong date. I did get in that one. That's where I made my money yesterday. Sorry about that. Start all over here. So right here's where the pump was that I thought was going to be, and it didn't. And then right here, it did the same thing I just went over. This was the drop, and I was afraid to get in here because I thought that it was going to take off, so I didn't. And then when we had this little part here, I went ahead and got in a little bit, ended up losing a little bit of money. Then it dropped again on me, and I was actually in this where it dropped, but it hit my stop. And then when it came down and started coming up, I thought, well, here we go again. But these are big candles. I mean, if you look at that, that's 47, and this one is 35. So you're looking 12 to 15 point candles in here. That is hard to trade. Very hard to trade, because once you decide to get in, then it's getting ready to pull back on you. So it's hard trading that. Usually, if you get small candles, which I'll show you on gold was the trade today, and I just totally missed it because I was so enthralled with ES. And then we had this big old drop, and I never got in this drop at all because I thought that it was going to take off. And you can see it dropped, had a little pullback, drop, and it wasn't just a consistent drop the way it normally does. It kept going back and forth, and it made you think that it was going to rally. Well, it ended up dropping all day. So I didn't get in here, and that kind of bummed me out because I didn't realize it till down here, and that's when I decided to get in that short. So I got in a short, and it started coming down. I was actually up a few $100, and then it reversed on me, and then it stopped me out, and I lost a few hundred. So that was disappointing. And then this consolidation, in my head, I kept thinking, it's going to go up, go up, go up. I didn't think that it would drop the way it did. I thought 2,900 would probably be the very bottom that we'd ever see, thereabout. And it actually dropped more than that yesterday, and I thought, well, there's no way that we'll drop below. So this right here was our symmetrical triangle, which I'll blow it out here in a minute and show you. But I thought there's no way that it's going to drop below this. This right here is the telltale sign that it's going to go back up. Well, as you can see what it did. It dropped down more, and then it just consolidated over. And I kept trying to get in it right, and I just couldn't do it. I should have just went to the beach today and just not even done this. I should have just shut my computer off this morning and said, I'm not trading today. I would be a lot better off today. So now, that we've had this big old sell-off, and a lot of people are saying it's because of Powell and this and that. Well, I believe that the charts tell what the news is going to report. I believe the charts are the main thing, and then as soon as it's ready for it to drop, it's like they call someone up and say, let's put out some bad news because it's time to drop. I truly believe that that is what happens, and they use the news to do whatever they want. So we have been in a meltdown for 2 months with the economy, and being in a meltdown, I mean the bad economy. We've got the highest unemployment we've ever had. People don't have jobs. They're going to food banks, but the market kept on rallying. Well, now that it's time for the market to sell off right here, they sell it off, and then they say, well, Powell got out and said it had we had the worst economy that we've had in a long time, and it's going to take generations to come out of this. Well, Powell had nothing to do with this. This is the symmetrical triangle that it was in. I'm actually shocked that it broke through, but in a way I'm not, because it looked like it come down, and this was at what is that, 5, let's see, 5, yeah, it's 5 o'clock yesterday, and it started going up, and then I guess they decided that they wanted this bad news to do something else. They wanted to short some more, so they went ahead and shorted it down again. Now it's pulling back. Now, will it short tonight? I don't know, but whatever it's going to be doing is what I'm going to be doing. I've got to try to make up for some of the money tonight, and I'll do a few trades, and if I'm doing okay with my trades, then I'll continue to do it. If not, then I'm going to go ahead and call it a night and just start over tomorrow. So you can see the symmetrical triangle. We actually hit up here a couple times, and then we hit it again, then we come down, and we just had this big old W, come up, touch it again, then we come down. So I thought we'd come down and test it again, because we didn't quite hit it here. So I thought we'd test it, and then we'd take off and be like a W. Well, it didn't do it, it kept on going. So now this is the kind of move like we had back in February. If we go back to the 4 hour, the same move that we had here. We had a big drop, come up, it's like a bear flag, okay? So now we're actually going sideways, so it looks like it's actually going like this right here, and now it's time to drop. Well, I'm okay with it dropping, and honestly I thought it probably would, but I thought we would get one more spike and we would hit probably 30.10. That was based on support and resistance lines and so forth. So we didn't hit the 30.10, we actually dropped back out. So originally I did not have this symmetrical triangle drawn out because, one, we had the trend right here and we only had like 2 hits on it. So we had this one right here and we had this one. Well, that's not a trend to me at that time. So, but you know, when we come up here, we got close. So I'm thinking that is a trend. And when we went up and then we reversed down and hit it again, then I hit this one. That is a trend because it hit 3 times. So we got 3 times on top, and then we've got 2 there, almost 1 there. Now we have 1 here, but blew through. Now a symmetrical triangle can be bearish or bullish. Typically, if you have a run before it, then it is a bullish. So where this run up and then we get into the triangle, that would be a bullish. But I don't care if it's bullish, bearish, or whatever. There's no rhyme or reason what this does as far as trying to trade it. So my personal opinion is that this triangle, this formation of the candles, is why we had the sell-off today. They just use the news for the reason for what it's doing. That's just my personal belief, and no matter how many articles or proof or whatever you throw at me, I'll still believe it. It's kind of like when you're doing a scalp and you put your stop loss in. If you put a stop loss in, it's like that candle knows it's there and it says, I got to get that stop loss. It's like a piece of chocolate cake to it. So it takes off and gets it. But if you don't have a stop loss, that candle won't even search for it. Yeah, I know that's not true, but it seems like that's what it is. I was talking to someone today and they actually brought it up and they were saying the same thing, and I started laughing because I already believed it. But again, that's not true. That the candle has no idea you're there. Now the market makers do. They can see that, and if they are controlling the candles, then maybe they are going to get that stop loss because they want the retail to lose the money for sure. So that's where we are with ES. I believe we may go ahead and sell off, hit this 200 and bounce back. We may go ahead and have the sell-off that we've been talking about for months now. So back in February is when the market actually dropped. And sorry about that, I got my windows open. You hear a Harley go by. I missed my Harley. So what we have now is this is almost like a big old turn to where it's just trying to pull over. So is it going to be here or not? I don't know. We'll find out here probably tonight or tomorrow what it's going to do. Now if we look at this, we can see the MACD's been pulling down for quite a while. Our RSI is coming down, but how far will we go? I don't know yet. I'm just going to play it by ear, scalp whichever way it's going. There's my pinpoint of where I thought it was going based on this right here, and we can delete that because it is gone. So we'll go over to, actually we'll go to SPY. SPY is the exact same pattern, did the same thing. Right now it's trading at 281.60. So with the SPY trading there, it's in the same boat. There's actually several people got in calls on, see, I guess it would have been Monday. They got in calls over here, and it looked like it was actually going to break through and go. I told them that I wouldn't buy SPY calls, I would buy ES calls because you can get out of it. And if they would have bought ES calls right in here's where they were half the day, they could have sold them right here and made money. But instead, the market opened. Let me go back to a 15, maybe see it. Let's see here. Yeah, right here's where they were buying, and they could have sold them right here for money. But look at that. This is why I don't like equities. Equities you can only trade in the black here, which is 9:30 to 4. And by the time it opened and started selling off, their SPY calls were nothing. They were not worth anything because of how it had reacted overnight. So like overnight, we went up and then kind of dropped down, and when we come back up, you could have sold them right here and made money, at least broke even. But when the market opened, it sold off, so SPY calls were worthless. As soon as it opened and started selling off, they were worthless. And as far, well, not worthless, they were just worth less money than you paid. So when you're trying to trade SPY in calls, it's hard because now if you looked at this right here, all signs say calls. There's nothing here that says puts to me. So if you'd bought calls, and it should, we thought we were going to run on up, and actually I thought it was going to be up around 295 or so on yesterday, and it turned out it dropped. So if it's hard to buy. Like if you had bought calls here, it'd have been hard to sell them here because of the way these dips are. That's why I like futures, because futures you can trade 23 hours a day. So when you're trying to trade buy calls and everything, it's hard. But now if you'd have bought puts over here, you'd have made a bunch of money, especially if you'd held them and went 2 more days. You'd have made a ton of money. But when you look at this over here, you're not really thinking that it's going to be that. We did have a double top there, and it's a lower high than this right here. So that's a sign that it's going to be puts. But when you're looking at it now, it's easy. But when you're looking at it while it's going on, it's real hard to see it. So when you're trying to trade equity calls and puts and stuff, or just options, it's really kind of hard because it's hard to determine where the market's going. Right here, this looks like a perfect scenario for calls, and you could have made money on overnight swing. But this right here would have just taken all your money, and then it would have taken up to right here to actually get it back. So it's just hard doing overnight swings right now, the way the market is moving. The market makers are making it to where you can't make money. You're going to make money, but you can't make the money you're used to making, because we are in a consolidation period. We're just going sideways. That makes it hard. So that's where it is with that. And then gold. Gold was today was a good day for gold, and it was too late by the time I noticed it. This morning, I was up at this time. I could have got in future contracts here and just went ahead and went long on this and made a bunch of money there, or I could have just scalped it all the way through there. This would have been an easy one to make money on. But I was so focused on the Feds and ES that I never even really looked at it. I need to have all the contracts that I trade, like all these over here, I need to have those up on one monitor, and just so I can just look at them and keep an awareness. So if I would have traded that one all the way up to say 9 o'clock or so, then we had this big old drop, which I probably would not have been able to get in this drop. But by the time it come over here and then it started coming back up, I could have scalped to here, and then I could have got in a short right in here. This right here is no land. I didn't even try to trade that. Unfortunately, I was trading ES doing the same thing, and it cost me money. At the end of the day, this right here would have been a good good place to be scalping a lot. So gold was the play of the day. Now, where's gold going? I've been thinking gold's going to be selling off for quite a while, and it just won't do it. But see, we have this descending triangle. That is a bearish sign. Now, if this sells off, typically gold will go, it's the inverse of ES typically, but they've been running together. Now, with gold going in this descending triangle, will it sell off on this next drop? I don't know. It may keep on going. It may even go up. I've seen descending triangles actually be bullish, but even though it's a bearish pattern. So with the market kind of the way it's going, with what they're saying now, the news that we're having a generational problem trying to get the coronavirus and this and that, and now they're saying that the jobs are not going to go back to work until, I think it was the second week of June, if I'm not mistaken. So with that, I think that this gold should go up, but I think it'll probably end up dropping with the market. But gold is your safe haven. That's where you put your money when the market's bad, but that's not the way it's been playing. So when we look at this now, we had this big old run here. It's not quite a cup and handle. Now today, if you look at the 15, this is a cup and handle. See there? Boom, and then it should come on down and then rocket. But it's hard to say what it's going to do. Just play it minute by minute and see where it's going, and just keep on recharting to find out for sure which way it's going to go. By looking at this, it looks like it's trying to come right across the top there. If we do this trend line here and come from, say, here on down, so that's running in line. So across time frames, these lines will sometimes move a little, but for the most part they stay pretty close. And if I put this on a so 1 hour, let's see how close. Let's see, it's actually on it right there, so that is a good one there. So it actually broke through a little bit. So it's trying to get through. Usually when you're on a descending triangle, if those candles stay across that top one, it will bust through. But if they stay along the bottom, it will drop down. That's not always, but I've noticed a pattern like that. NG, I ended up buying calls on NG, and the reason I did is because of this trend line that I've got in the support. Okay, so I bought calls on it yesterday evening, late evening, and the reason I did is because I thought overnight that it may end up, while I was sleeping, it may drop and then go. So I was willing to take a little bit of a loss on it in case it did that, because you can see here when it hits, it takes off, and I did not want to miss that move. So I got in, say, right here as it come down and then go up. I'm down just a little bit on it, not much. This right here should bounce out of there. It come down, hit that support line again, and I'm hoping that it will take off and keep on going. I got in, I guess it would be probably along through here. That's where I got in, and I thought that it might actually pop up here, but ended up selling off more. So if this will actually turn and start going up, then I'll be fine and I can make some good money. I have July calls on them, so I've got plenty of time. And I've been watching this. I made money coming down this. I made money coming up. I've made money all over NG. NG is actually a pretty good one to trade if you're not familiar with it. It's slow moving, but when it does start moving, it's fast. So you've got to kind of weather it out. And usually it'll come down, it'll consolidate sometimes for a couple days even. When it consolidates, just make sure you got the right direction, and then when it starts dropping, it'll go. Look right here, I mean, you can see the consolidation there. It just went straight across, and it had highs and lows just all the way across there like a heartbeat. So look at it a little closer, and then all of a sudden, boom, and then it just drops hard. So that's the way NG usually works, and that's why I like to trade it. But right now I think NG is going to probably bounce out of here and go back up into the twos. I'm hoping. This is an ascending broadening wedge, and that is actually a bearish sign, so there's a chance it could just go ahead and drop out right here. But I think that we'll probably get one more rise out of it. We'll find out. We'll know within a day where we're going to be on it. So if it goes to sell off, I'll just go ahead and close out my calls, and then hop in some puts and make up for what I lost on it. NQ was actually a good one to trade today. I didn't see this until it was too late. Again, I was too enthralled with ES. But let's see here. Let me look at this right here. Get a little closer. You had the big drop. Let's see here. Had a big drop all last night. Actually at the end of the day, and I wasn't in that. I didn't even trade NQ here. I did trade it earlier. I think I traded it right on through here. I think it was Tuesday evening or Tuesday day. It was Tuesday morning that I traded it, and then we had this big old drop. I'd love to have been in that, but I wasn't in it. And we had this yeah, a real kind of sketchy coming up through here. This was actually kind of hard here, but today at 9:30, this was a good one, this was a good one, and that was a good one, and then it went all day long and then popped up again. This would actually have been a good one to trade, and it was better than ES for the way it moved, because if you look at the candles on it, let's see here, ES I'm just kind of done with for now. If you look at the candles right here, they're kind of up and down a little bit, but we had some good momentum in there. So this would have been one that you could have traded and been okay with. When you compare that one to ES, like that's the end of the day. ES, there were still a lot of pullbacks in here, and it was harder. So if you look at that one and then you go back to the NQ, see it was more straight up. So NQ, kind of wondering what's going to happen. I think they'll end up pumping tonight, and if they do, that will be great. So we got about 10 more minutes for the opening, so we'll see on that. We went through all those. 10 more minutes to opening. I'll be trading. I'll be in my Discord group as well. If you are not part of our Discord group, it's very reasonable to get in. We talk about what we're trading. Sometimes we'll do live streams and so forth on the trades. We do a voice chat, which today I did not do. I was kind of upset, so I didn't do one. But I do voice chats, and it don't even have to be me. I mean, it can be anybody in there, and it's for futures. So as we're trading the futures, we're talking through it. Just like on this one here, if I was trading it, I would be saying that what the indicators are doing, where I'm getting in, what target I'm looking for, and the others do it as well. So we just started that this week, and it's actually done pretty good. I enjoy it. And we stay on there for hours. You don't have to. You can be a part of it or not, but to help you understand the futures and so forth, that would be good. Today I did a live stream with one person in our group to show how the AMP futures is working. And the AMP futures, I ended up, I liked it pretty good. I traded it for the first time today. It's got better OCOs, which is like your stop limits and all that stuff. And I traded it today. I like it a lot better than NinjaTrader. NinjaTrader will cost you money for the platform, which I don't like, but it also, they don't have all the OCOs that like Multicharts does in AMP futures. So AMP futures has less margin. There's a difference there. The fees are about the same, but you don't have to buy a platform like you do with NinjaTrader. So I'm trying to get my company set up with AMP, and if they'll get it set up, then I won't trade NinjaTrader. I'll leave my account open, leave some money in there, and trade it occasionally just to make some money in it. But for the most part, I really like the AMP futures best of the two, and using Multicharts. That's the platform. But if you're not part of our Discord, there's a link down the bottom. Go to SpyMoneyLLC.com. It'll show you how you can get signed up, and also we have online courses that you can take to learn more about futures. If you don't know much about futures, then it's very imperative that you take a course, rather than mine or someone else's, and learn what futures are and how it works before you actually get involved. So anyway, I will see you guys in a bit. We got 8 minutes till opening, and you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.